my radio gets busy and I've got to listen to it. So, hello everybody. Welcome to Wild Earth. More flutes and two boys. No, okay, so the boys are going to look for those lights. The first one's just starting out. And heading up to that lion kill. Lion killed a giraffe. Could have been early this morning. Killed a signal. It'll get better. Should be. Error. Welcome to Wild Earth, everybody. Ooh, a little bit loose at the back. Try to leave camp early and we try to get to a really good spot where we can maybe try and get to see that leopard. That we found this morning. But interestingly, I've got news that the black dam pride of lion, which is the local pride of lion, that's the pride of lion that live in the southern region of Thornybush, and they don't exactly have a dominant male in the pride, but their young male, who's actually the brother to two of the young females in the pride, he's joined up with a big male, and they were approaching the kill this morning, so there's very, very interesting things going on. Okay, sorry, I've been driving into the sun, so I had my shades on. Hi everybody. Welcome to Thornybush this afternoon. And we've just hit the extension of Central Cut Line. We're going to go down to the bottom and look for that young male leopard. But in the interim, I'm just listening to what's happening with the lion. They killed a giraffe last night. Could have been early this morning. This pride of lion are known for their giraffe, or rather their prowess at giraffe killing or giraffe hunting. And they've killed another one. I'm hoping that at some point we might get some footage of that. And the young male is back with them, so I think that might be very interesting. I believe there's a little bit of an interaction, that other male might be in the area. I need to listen to the radio about that this afternoon. But what is interesting is that not every lion kills giraffe. Not every lion goes for giraffe or pride. And that certain prides actually specialize in giraffe, because it's not an easy thing bringing down such a large mammal, and they need to do it under certain circumstances, certain conditions, climatic conditions, or certain ground conditions, rocky terrain, or dry riverbeds, or during a rainfall, or just uneven terrain where they can actually get the giraffe on the ground, because giraffe do have a very powerful defense mechanism. They've got an ability to kick with all four legs, and many a lion has had a broken jaw or a concussion or even lost its life. There's a colotus butterfly, never mind, from the kick of a giraffe. So they're lucky to bring them down, and what's interesting is that in most places you find that the male of the pride, the dominant male, his presence is normally necessary. His presence is normally required during a giraffe hunt to to add his weight and his strength to bring it down. And here we've got a female pride of lionesses, the black dam female and her two daughters, who are managing to do adult female giraffe. I haven't heard of them pulling down a bull yet, but I wouldn't put it past them. But adult female giraffe on their own. Interesting. Hope we can get some footage of that with the cubs. Okay, let's go and see if we can find this other cat. Obviously the lion pride with the giraffe kill, they're a little bit out of our broadcast range, and our priority is, well, the dual priorities. Okay, so the elephant at Royal Malawasi. There's still some elephant down south here that we are gonna somehow have to find this afternoon. Generally, it's not that hard to find elephants, but here it has been. Here it has been a challenge. Vivian in Chicago asked me a question this morning. She said, what do you take away from Thornybush? Would it be one of the most challenging places you've had drives in? And I was trying to sort of shrug off the word challenging, but actually, Vivian, you're right. Challenging is probably the word. With these elephants showing such amazing behavior towards us and acceptance of us, I was really hoping to see more of them, and it's been challenging finding them. It's easier to find elephants anywhere else in Africa. Here, like leopards, they go one way and they turn around, they go another way, and then they turn around, they go another way. But I guess circumstance that dictates that. Okay, we're coming to the drainage line. There's a young male leopard down there somewhere. I know that his bigger brother's here too, and I do know that his mother's around as well. Couldn't find either one of them. I know they must be close, unless he just brought him here, left him here, and hopefully he's stayed put anywhere, David. There could anywhere, on the sand, in the trees, anywhere down here is a young male leopard. His mother might be here too, and so might his brother. But he's the only one that actually pays us any mind. Sun is that side, so he might be this side of the tree. I hope. And the big jackberry down there. I made this a priority because I know there were some people who might not have been with us on this morning's drive. But I'm hoping to find this little boy, or his mother, or his brother, or his other brother. Where is this little boy? No, it's not in the tree. And let's go to where that fork is. He might have fallen asleep. In that big bowl of that jackberry. Not seeing a tail, not seeing a spot. Okay. That's fine. He might even be up one of these other jackalberries. Or he might not even be there at all. It's also quite a warm afternoon, and might be best to not bother just yet. Looks like there've been a bunch of cars here, actually, since we were here. Maybe they'll find them later, but I don't want to go wake up a sleeping cat. And it's not true, not because of any danger or anything else, it's just because of respect. We had an incredible morning with that little boy. Sorry if you missed it. I've got some photographs. I know that we got some really good footage, and I'm sure there were a few people that got some screen grabs. One of those things that you just have to be there in the moment. We can't reproduce it. We can't go and hope that we're going to find him again and reenact this morning. It doesn't work that way. So those that were with us, welcome to our live drive, and let's go look for it. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Vivian. Pardon? Vivian. Thanks for the email. Erin just relayed that to me. And Vivian asked me this morning about my experience here at Thornybush up till now, without scared it's challenging. And yes, I think I was considering challenging in many different aspects, in different challenging, different aspects of challenging. And well, the bottom line is that yes, it is probably the most challenging place I've ever had to. I've driven in some places where game is scarce. There are other factors involved, even in the winter months, that make it less challenging because there's more for me to show people. And what makes it so challenging here is that we drive a lot and we don't really see too much. And so it's Porco Road up to Westfield Dam, go back down, maybe go down Turning around. Wonder why I can't turn around here. Interesting. Lion tracks. There's some elephant tracks too. I don't know, I can try and sort of drive to the side here and I can show you some lion tracks. Can see if this will even work. Interesting because the track's going both ways, but it seems like a fit. Can you hear me? Sounds good, okay. I don't know, maybe take it off that mic and put that mic. Down one, I mean down two and up one.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Two. Elephant isn't as fresh as the lion, but there's elephant tracks down here. In fact, right here, I'm going to make a ring, okay? That's an elephant track. Can you see that? I don't know. Oh, must not be easy. Here's the lion. And then there's a car that came. There was a car that came over it all. So I've just placed my foot. I placed my foot over a lion track that's over an elephant track. People often ask me, why do I go barefoot? Why do I not worry about things? It's not about worrying about things. It's about the energy of life that I live with every day of my life, and living with lions and elephants, and to be able to do that rarity of being able to stamp my foot in the print of a lion track that is on top of an elephant track. Okay, show me anything that betters that. We can debate it. it's not easy to sort of translate the tracks that I see into something that the camera can see. I just hope that sometimes the camera can actually see it. But yes, lion tracks on top of elephant tracks, and with my footprint in between on the same page, as it were. Can't do better than that. I'm not going to drive on it. Somebody else drove over here, didn't even look at lion tracks and elephants. My umbilical cord getting caught in things. Sure. But I know that these lions were up there at the other lion where they killed the giraffe, so I know for a fact that the lion whose tracks there are in this road, even though he's walked up and down here, actually, but looks like he came down and then up. I know that he's not here, so I feel safe in getting out because I know for a fact that he is up there where the giraffe still is, and that's at least a mile north of here. Doan and deer. No, you know, if I said our last drive, I'd make a big thing out of it. Not our last drive, Doan and some. Right, yes, I was talking about the last drive we were on with the leopards. If you were with us with the last drive, okay. Thanks, Aaron. Yeah, Aaron just clarified it for me. I might have said last drive those words, but I'm getting into trouble lately for the way I phrased my thing. Yes, I might have used the words last and drive in the same sentence, and I might have used them next to each other, but I didn't imply that this is the last drive. I was talking about the last drive we were on with that young leopard, and that's why we went to look for him. So no, this is not the last drive. We'll be here tomorrow. Na munzuku nampun. I mean, sorry, that's the strong one. And tomorrow and the next day. Kesho na kesho kutwa in Swahili. Dumani. And I don't know what dumani is. But you get the point. We'll be here till the last, I don't know, towards the end of the month. Somewhere towards the end of the month, and then we'll see what happens after that. So that was lion tracks coming up and then going back down, and then he went north because there is nothing here in the way of lion tracks as we approach the dam. Okay, sorry, it's really, really bright. Shoot so bright I need to wear shades. As I said earlier, I don't want to go and disturb it. I don't want to drive. I'm right with this water. So, who we got walking on this road? Besides monkeys. Buffalo. And monkeys. Tuesday afternoon in Africa, and live to the world, and I still don't get it. It's like there's 200 or I think we need an antenna, but it's not really that. We're just bouncing between unlock and I've only got the one young male, the little the brother to the two sisters, the uncle to the cubs. Oh look, the velvet monkey. He's up there with the giraffe kill, but the other male hasn't been seen yet, but I'm sure he's not too far away. I'm sure he's very, very scared of approaching there, because those females they'll beat him up so badly. It doesn't matter that he's made friends with the brother or the son. The fact is that he's a threat to those cubs. So the monkey. Hello everybody. Wouldn't you know it, just when I'm sort of getting into something and then what? Oh yes, oh go on. I thought you saw something or was gone.
No.
Yes. God. Thanks, David. All I was saying was that really, it's all of us. We've all played a part in finding, because it was one of those moments that was almost like a fluke. We just happened to find, like the cheetah the other day. I happened to be in the right place at the right time, I had an idea where they went, but I was more interested in finding elephants. And lo and behold, looking down the fire break and looking down that long, long road, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, the buffalo ganging up. Lo and behold, sitting on the fire. Oh, there's another one here, makes tent on the damn wall. Terrapins flying into the water at a rapid rate. There's still a couple of terrapins on the other bank, and it's bad, the sunlight in our eyes. But it was lucky, and I was just it was just great to have had everybody with us to find that leopard, and then that he didn't run away. Of course, the behavior of the jigger in approaching him ensured that he didn't just run away. And I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but of course I was in control of the jigger, so I guess I can take a bit of credit for that we didn't chase him, because that actually becomes the norm. The guys see and it's catch from a distance and they race to try and find it, and then what happens is that it thinks you're coming to chase it, so it runs away, and so perpetuates that behavior that it steers the vehicle. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, that's the same one. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 dogger boys. Let's go around the other side and we can see them better. Unfortunately, there's a little bit too much sun in our eyes here. But I'm focusing on the terrapins for some of our terrapin fans, terrapin and turtle fans. And would you know it, my sister sends me a photograph of some guy standing at some turtle pool. There's a bunch of terrapins that just went in the water here. Oh, and somebody fell on his back. Can you still see those two?
Yep.
Okay. This lot tumbled into the water so fast that one of them fell on his back, but he's lucky. He tumbled into the water on his back, and so he was able to turn over. Otherwise I would have had to become a turtle rescuer. But yeah, there was a photograph of some guy at a Turtle Rescue Institute that she said looked like me. And I had the sudden thought that maybe Simon was involved. Some of you remember Simon. Yes. Hanley in Pretoria. Ek verbaas. As jy kan. Heel wat verbaas. Hanley is asking, why don't we see any springboks? Okay, unfortunately I'm going to have to drive past these two terrapins, and they're probably not going to like it and go back into the water. It's up to them. I'm not really going to disturb them. I'm just coming past, so they're welcome to stay there and stay dry. It's entirely their choice if they feel threatened. I'm coming past at an angle. Can you see them again? And now? Okay. This is for people like Paddy Mulligan and Tammy, and there are a whole bunch of people out there that love terrapins and turtles and tortoises. So children, muddy children. Actually, two different species. One's a pan terrapin on the left, and I think the one on the right is the serrated hinge terrapin. Because there's a difference in the flatness of the carapace. There's a buffalo fallen over on his side, fast asleep. Bored buffalo. Okay, I'm going to still try and get further past them. Hopefully they still don't move, so we can see them better. So don't you move. Stay there, stay there, Terrapin. Okay, the sand terrapin has disappeared, but I think that's his back. Oh, I mean not his back. The hidden terrapin. Camera shy. Camera shy, that's all. Look at these boys. Some of them slept, 3 of them at least, slept on their sides. Not yet. There's also a couple of giraffe at the back there. The light isn't great. We could probably move a little bit and get better light. In fact, let's try something else, David. So Hunley was asking about springbok. We don't have springbok here because there's no springbok in the locale. That's just not their habitat. Springbok are more prey sites in the Free State and the Karoo and the drier western regions of the country going into Namibia. But there are no springboks that occur, no gazelles in fact. Down here in the Kruger Park region. Look at these buffalo, they're like just so... sorry to wake you, old man. Really, apologies profusely. There's a big boy. He's just laid down and gone to sleep. You trying to pretend you're hippo or something? Indeed, Clancy, you're so right. Thank you, Clancy, for the email. I do this for the love of doing it. For the love of being able to bring to parts of the world that will never come and see it. This is my answer to a zoo. I mean, why don't humans get it? This is the answer to a zoo. Instead of seeing an animal in a closed cage, here we've got animals live in their environment, in their habitat, doing what they do. Look at that buffalo bull. He is so relaxed. He's passed out on his side. One of Africa's most dangerous and notorious killers of human buffalo. But I do have to emphasize one point, that it's all got to do with hunters and not really us people who go around photographing them. And if you don't shove a camera in their face, they're not going to shove a horn in yours. So they're actually quite relaxed people if you don't bother them. And here we are sitting quite close to nearly a dozen big African buffalo bulls, and they're very relaxed. And I have to ask you, and I know it's not a really nice subject, but how macho do you have to be to I mean, really, is it such a macho thing to shoot one of these boys when they're like this? I can't get the whole hunting thing. I really can't. So just thought I'd bring it up. Looking at these children, the way they are, just so relaxed, lying on the edge of the pan. Life couldn't be better. Can you see these? Oh, yeah,
other through the Oxford.
Yeah. But just look at the difference in the size of the boss. Look at that bull on the left versus that bull on the right. So they're both fast asleep. But the boss that I'm talking about is this massive horn above the eyes, where the one on the left, he's got that oxpecker right in the middle of his boss, where the horn is knit together and protects his skull and his brain when he has to or has had to fight. Now if you look at the one on the left, his left, our right, much younger bull. But having said that, that so-called younger bull is still an old bull. So it gives you an idea of how old that other bull is, because he's a really old man. He's one of those. Oh, he's huge. And there are a few more like him. This one sitting on his own. He's another big old man. You can see the two flanking that younger bull in the middle. Those two bulls are quite big. The one that's flat on his side over there, he's going to be a big old bull when he becomes a big old bull, but for now he's still on average. He's got a good spread. And then the two old boys at the back. Wonderful collection of Africa's finest buffalo. I can hear a vehicle. And once again I'm looking at grey hair and feathers that are, oh look at that, that's blowing in the wind right in front of these buffalo. I'm so tempted to get up. Yeah? Yeah, I enjoy. Stand by one. And it's interesting to see as well if the individuation that they have. They don't have markings. They don't have stripes like zebra. They don't have markings like giraffe or leopard or anything else. So there are different ways to really look at these things. And apart from the two that we've been looking at already, you look at all these other bulls. They're all sort of sitting up now because another vehicle arrived. And the difference in the curvature of their horns, the difference in the density of their boss, the differences in the shape of the nuchal muscle, that huge muscle that they have above their shoulders. Watch, he's going to stretch. Look at that bull. Look at that. I love that. It's like El Toro when a buffalo bull gets up and he stretches like that. Did you get that? He stretches that nuchal muscle of his because he's been lying down all the time. Okay, now, one by one, come on, all of you. Stand up and stretch. One by one. Show us those necks. Show us those. I want that hair and feather. But I'd sooner jump into a crocodile-infested pool than walk out here in front of these bunch of bulls. Um, although I've no doubt that most of them would run away if I had to step out of the vehicle. They're all passive. They're all quite relaxed. There's a bull at the back there. Look at the horn. The one on the left at the back. Serious pair of weapons on his head. And of course they've got that nuchal muscle. They've got all of this neck muscle to be able to swing that head from side to side. And in swinging it from side to side, it just creates the perfect daggers of their horns. This bull standing up, his curvature is a little bit tight. The way his horns curve. And he's, oh boy, you it's like I can run over there and rub his tummy. Look at him. He's like, well, I don't feel so fat anymore. This one's also rolling over. Oh, a little bit of head rubbing with these two boys. He's gonna lie down. Okay, boys, we off. I think this is the old boy that had his eye damaged at one time. God, look at the size of him though. Compared to the others, the broadness of his head and his butt. Now that they're looking up, before we go, look at the size of this buffalo. This is nearly a ton of buffalo. What's a different angle? Yes. He's got his head at a little twig that's just tickling his nose, and as his head drops, because look, watch, head drops, and the twig touches his nose and tickles his nose. Drop the head a bit more. Oh, he might have broken the tip to it. Okay. Very seldom that we actually get to spend so much time with such relaxed bulls. I mean, often we find them just standing next to the road or standing in the road, and they're invariably showing us the process of eating grass. They're chewing, and at the same time there's the byproduct coming out at the other end, both ends. And it's actually very peaceful to sit with, one of Africa's so-called big five. I don't sort of buy into that whole big five thing, but sitting with one of Africa's most notorious of big mammals, and I've certainly felt threatened by them on many occasions when I've been on foot. They're not the kind of thing you want to bump into when you're on foot, depending on where you are. So it's really magic to sit with them and not feel threatened, and they're so relaxed. You get to watch some of that interaction between different bulls. Makes you think, what is it that makes them stick together? What is it that they're happy to be in each other's company? What is it that keeps them together? What kind of conversation do they have? How are they communicating? Do they need to communicate? Is it not just enough that they're in each other's company and they're just sitting here? And look at that. There's another one. That's Stretch. Yeah, watch him. He's going to do it too. Watch this. He didn't do anything. He just got up and it's getting up time. Buffalo bulls. I want another stretch like that big bull at the back. He's a youngster, so he had muscles to stretch. That old man doesn't have any. It's like me. I don't stretch anymore. I'm like that old bull. I just get up and go. I don't have to stretch and do the whole display muscle thing because I don't have any anymore. Yes, Aaron. One never gets to see buffalo's full potential unless he stands up and he does that stretch. Didn't copy that. Go again. Yeah. Hello, Deborah. Deborah was wondering if there are any hippos at the waterholes here at Thornybush. Yes, Deborah, there are. We saw some hippos at Langwan Dam the other day. We can go past there sometime. Maybe this evening or tomorrow and see if they're back. But they were there for a couple of drives. You must have missed them. There was hippo there. Oh, hello, boys. That's actually very tender the way they communicate, these two boys here, these two old men. Okay, he's standing up. He might stretch. And he's going to stand up. He might stretch. Yes, he's going to stretch a little bit. Not much. And those other boys that woke up already, they're waiting for these boys to wake up because they're saying, okay, sun's going down, cooling down, time to go and get grass again. Yeah, he's stretching as well as toileting. Splash. Have you got any of this interaction with these two? Quite incredible. Maybe it's father and son. Maybe he's old enough to be the father of that other bull. But they have to have known each other for many, many years. And we're at the time of the day when they're actually going to be getting up and doing a few things. I can't guarantee what kind of behavior we're going to get out of them. But it's just interesting. We haven't really spent enough time with buffalo like we have now. This old bull and that younger bull on his left have an interesting connection. And please don't ask how old they are because I haven't the faintest idea. I have to look at their teeth. And I'd sooner go and collect that feather than ask them to look at their teeth. Yeah, I'm too lazy to walk around the water, so I'm just going to walk through the water. I want to go in a straight line that way, and the water just happens to be in the way, so I'm just going to walk through the water. That's an interesting question, actually. Vivian in Chicago. Hello, Vivian. Vivian's wondering about males taking over a pride and then killing the cubs that may be there that are under a certain age because they want to produce their own cubs, and they don't want to be defending a territory with another male's cubs, they've got to sow their own genes. So there is the tendency of male lion to kill cubs. Vivian is wondering if there's a certain age where the lion don't kill the cubs. And I guess you could say sort of maybe on average about a year or more. But in my history and in my experience, there's no... What? There was some discussion going on with those buffalo. Look, he's playing with the stick. This one. The stick was poking him in the nose earlier. He's actually playing with it. Watch. He's going to try and get it in his ear or in his butt or in somewhere where there's an itch. And then the boys at the back were talking about something. But it... And there's also a giraffe. I can see two giraffes through that tickle bush. But then it's not a hard and fast rule. There's some prides where cubs over a year will be left alone, and there's some prides where even 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, even 5. We found in the Sabi Sand when we had those first the Mapokos coming in, even adult females weren't safe. So it's not something that you can say, well, if a lion cub is a year old, it's safe from the teeth and claws of a male lion coming in and taking over the pride. It doesn't work that way. It's a behavioral thing, and I can't emphasize more that you can't put a label on something that is animal behavior, because every single individual animal is exactly that. They're an individual. They are guided by a certain amount of instinct. They're guided by a certain amount of learned behavior from their peers and family. But how they behave in different circumstances is not something that you can predict. It's not something that you can say, this is how it happens. So while some male lions might accept cubs that are a certain age, others may not. So generally up to a year or a year and a half, sometimes even 2-year-olds, but generally it's mostly cubs under a year. They're the most threat, but those are the ones that are still so dependent on the females, and those are the ones that are preventing the females from coming into estrus again. So if the male or the males, if there's a coalition of males coming into the pride, if those are the ones that are taking over the pride, they have a very limited time of being dominant over that pride and being able to maintain that territory. It's a shame to be talking about this right now, but just to finish quickly. They can only hold the territory for a short time, so they want to ensure that they can produce cubs. So cubs older than a year are not really much consequence, and the cubs under a year, if they kill them, that means that they can bring the females into estrus within a couple of weeks of them taking over the territory, and they can sire their own cubs and ensure that for 3 or 5 years they can maintain their territory and sire their own cubs to maturity, or rather look after them. Anyway, interesting looking at these two bulls that clearly know each other for many, many years. Just having a little bit of a head dash. Is that it? This one's trying to coax him into sort of... This one's trying to push him. There we go. Come on, boys. Old brothers in arms. Okay, time for us to move on. Buffalo. I'm gonna turn. Hello. Can you see our shadows? Hello, everybody. Is that Sharon in Memphis, Aaron? This is the old bull that I think this is the old bull that had that eye injury. Oh, and those two giraffes are really bashing it out amongst themselves. I just heard one giraffe hitting another giraffe in like a boxing match type thing. Sharon's saying that it seems we only see bulls. How do you tell the difference between cows and well, Sharon, you just haven't been with us long enough, because we will find a breeding herd. We will bump into them at some point in the next couple of days, because there is a big herd that is down south near our camp, and I'm hoping that we're going to see them pretty soon. And then you'll see what difference there is between the females and the bulls. You heard me describing the boss earlier, that area of the horns at the top of their head where it becomes this huge massive horn, and the females don't really have that, and they have thinner horns, and of course they don't have the other male bits. They have female bits. They have mammaries, 2 pairs of mammaries, and calves in tow. Generally they have calves in tow, but they move around in big breeding herds. You don't see small groups of female buffalo. It's just not conducive to move around in small groups for buffalo. They have to move around in big herds, which are big collections of family groups of females and their offspring, and their daughters and their offspring, and their sisters and their offspring. Just this huge collection of buffalo with a lot of bulls. These old guys, these are the guys that have had enough of this constant movement of the big breeding herds, because the big breeding herds have to be on the move all the time. These old boys, they just want to find a little old waterhole like this and just come and lie in the mud all day. Lie in the mud or the dust. Now that the evening wears on, it's time to go and fill their first stomach with grasses so that they can spend the next daytime just chewing all of those grasses, ruminating. Okay, time for us to move. So as we leave, I don't know how much we saw of oxpeckers on these buffalo, but interesting question that came in from Hanley in Telescope. Hanley said, bly dat dit by ons kan uitkom. Sorry, I'm going to have to talk on the radio now, I have no doubt, because there's somebody. Probably coming down here. And this is sparring. We're not going. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going there.
Okay. I didn't want to question him because I was hoping that maybe somebody could find him for the afternoon.
Okay.
But there's also some concept for that other Madonna and for that Mafaji that goes there.
Okay.
But that bigger Madonna, it looks like he went up that Mishpol, doesn't go.
Alright, I'll go and have a look. Are you going there now?
No, I want to look for this other Slambian Grove that is around here somewhere.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So there were 10 of these Duggar boys here, but they mostly got up and gone now.
I'll follow them.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Good luck.
You too. Bye. Okay, so where was I? Hanley in Pretoria, red-billed and yellow-billed oxpeckers. And a very, very good question, because why is it that yellow-billed oxpeckers are so endangered? And I would say that most likely it's due to the fact that yellow-billed oxpeckers tended to accept humans and domestic stock easier than the red-billed counterpart, and it was through all the pesticides and tick dips and all of these chemicals that we use on our domestic animals that have actually caused the decline of the yellow-billed oxpecker. And it's only now that they're starting to come back. I've seen a number of yellow-billed oxpecker up in East Africa. Sometimes you can see yellow-billed and red-billed on the same animal. But to find a yellow-billed oxpecker down here is actually quite in my opinion, I'm sure there might be others that differ, but in my opinion, when you see a yellow-billed oxpecker down here, it's like seeing a Cape vulture. It's like seeing I don't know, I'll think about it. But it's not a common bird anymore. But their numbers are improving. But primarily because of tick dips and the pesticides that are used on domestic stock. So that was rather a special buffalo moment. Not often we get to do that. That we can spend so much time with some bucks. I'm going to take Nalotica. We're going to go down here and see if we can find some elephant tracks. There is a section of this road that we have to come back to Shipene that we might lose signal. I'll keep track of that. And when it cools down a bit, we'll go back and see if we can locate that leopard again. But didn't want to stay there for too long. See what's happening on the rest of the planet. And this planet of wilder Aaron. Assalamualaikum. Kumilin lo. Okay. Why did I hear an elephant? future extension. Turned around because I thought someone found an elephant. But we'll go around that way anyway. It's behind you. Okay, copy. Did you go into Shalusi Bush or cut line? Go ahead. I left him in that Jackalberry that's west of the cut line and north of the Ngova. Those tracks of elephants that look like they go south. So, what's that? Turn it down. Yeah. I get lost in what goes on in the whole Thornybush thing, so I kind of got distracted there. So, where are we in terms of all of you up there? Just coming back past Westfield Dam, Buffalo up there somewhere. I want to go further east and then get out of the way of all of this traffic. There was a brief visual of a leopard and it's got everybody heading north. And I thought I heard somebody say that they were leaving some elephants to go to that leopard, but then the leopard disappeared and so nobody's going there anymore. And no news of elephants. So let's go to the cut line and we'll head back towards where the leopard were. We'll see if we can find these people that leopard, because none of them can find it. Not saying that I can, but I more or less knew what he was up to, that little boy. The bush is finally starting to look a little bit wintry. taken a little while. This particular road is almost identical in its composition, with trees and plants, grasses, almost identical to a road that we used to drive that was also an easy. If I had to film driving this road and driving Philemon's cut line, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in terms of composition. Grass. Couldn't get it. A little bit. Not bad. But no, we are a bit of a dip, so it could be that this little dip we're in. Okay. I'm losing radio, so I don't know if Aaron's been trying to fan. Where's the hula fan? Must be up north. Why so much? Something's leaking. Garland and Roskill, they're not going anywhere. With 6 vehicles on standby. Find an elephant. See if we can find a leopard. What's left for us to do? Yo! Where'd she go? To Miss Cleveland. Charlie in Minnesota. Hibbing. Wondering if any of the camera people, politically correct, or oh my word, look at that, there's a flower for the ladies. Look at this. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I'm going to drive right underneath it so that we can get it in this beautiful late afternoon sunlight. The first time ever to see an African wattle flower in winter. Look at that. The 2, the 3, 4, there are a whole bunch of little flower spikes up here. It's been a while since I've been able to fly. Find you ladies a flower. Too many F's and too many L's. Find the ladies a flower. What's interesting is that there is every feature of the tree available right now. There's this leaf, there's the flower, and there's the pod. Cultiforum africanum, the African wattle. Beautiful tree when it's in flower. It's good couple of months early. I had no idea why it could be flowering now, this particular individual, but really special. A beautiful, beautiful flower. African wattle in flower. Who would have thunk? Let me see what my book says. Into just the flower book, and then I'll look at my tree book. I want to see what they say about the flowering time, so that I can write them and say your book's wrong. It's like I can write to the dictionary people and say they spelled remarkable wrong. Remarkable with a C, not with a K. Cultiforum africanum. Pachycarpus, Passiflora, Pavetta, Cultiforum 172. Cultiforum africanum, here we go. September to February, and we are only in July. And I can look at my other books and I'll say the same thing. It's the earliest I've ever seen African wattle flowers. So, do I see anything different? Is there anything that I notice from time to time that is different because of climate change or because of whatever the case may be? These are the moments that I do find something different. African wattle flowers in July. African wattle flowers in July. It doesn't make sense. And there was a what's it called again? Anyone seen Cultiforum in flower yet? Of course, none of these guys know anything about flowering times of trees. That's really awesome. A bit much. There's a Cultiforum flowering already on Felicimola 1 cutline. I notice I get a wonderful response. Hey there, Aaron. Is it a cousin of the locust tree? I'm thinking. Okay, I can see. I don't know. I need you to go a little bit deeper into that for me. I have heard of the locust tree, and I do think I saw it down in the Southern California desert, and I've read a lot about locust tree, but I don't have anything here. Wait, we're going to have to just switch off here a sec. No, I guess I was really being a little bit too optimistic, thinking that any of these guides would actually be interested in flowers. And there's nothing in here that's a locust tree, but that doesn't surprise me. North American. But I want you to look at locust tree for me, find out what family it belongs to. Because it might well be the same family. Telling me. But it is the Caesalpinoidea, the mimosa family, the same as, I'm sure, the same as the locust tree. I have no idea where elephants have gone. And, well, we're going to go and look for little leopards. Can't get up there, so can't get those elephants. Yes, Aaron. Did I get distracted on something? Piggy. Is that flower telling me something about the weather that is coming? Peggy, I'm sure it is, but I don't know what it's telling me. I have to wait and see what is coming to be able to interpret what it means, because it's the first time I've ever seen a Peltrophorum flower in the middle of July. So I cannot say, even with the slightest hesitation, I cannot even begin to think what it means. What I can say is that yes, there is some message, there is something happening with the weather, there is something that is making an African wattle flower for this early. It might well have happened 100 years ago, it might well have happened 5 years ago, it might well have happened at some stage in the past. All I'm saying is that in my history, I've never seen an African wattle flower this early. In fact, African wattle normally flowers, they say September to February. I say no, I say actually October, November. Listen, we're north. We're going north. Sorry, we're on the wrong path. There's a big bull who went north. I'm thinking maybe he went to Langwan Dam. As he's headed up the cut line. I don't know. Maybe it's the same elephant up with Lanier Fan. Can't be, surely. We're just going to do a loop around Langwan Dam and then come back. Yeah, I wish I could say what it means, but it's one of those times, and this is a whole learning curve. The first time I've ever seen it means that I've got to learn what it means, and it might mean nothing. It might just be that, well, we've had unseasonal warm weather and we've had an unusual amount of rain. We sometimes do get a little bit of a shower in July, new moon or full moon, but this past new moon we actually had a little bit more rain than we usually have. So could be that there's a bit of water, and so there's a bit of sunshine, and so the optimal conditions are there for a tree to produce flowers. And it might mean simply nothing whatsoever. It might just be that, well, sun's out, it's winter, and there's been a bit of rain, and trees hitting its luck. Maybe there's something out there that can fertilize it. Might mean nothing. It's quite fantastic that it's there, that it's happening. Oh, okay. Thank you, Kimberly. Talking about the locust trees, totally different family of trees. Okay, so what's the name of that family, Aaron? The one that ends with AE or EA? Robinia. Yeah, spell it for me. Rubinaceae. Oh, like as in Robin. Robinia. I don't even know those. Okay, let's see what we've got in Robinia. Anything that resembles, or anything that belongs to the same family. Much else. What it does tell me is that it's an alien, and it does have spines, not thorns, the nose, drooping raceme, and they're fragrant flowers. Pods are elongate and flat, reddish brown and dehiscent, remaining on the branches during winter. So the black locust does actually occur here in South Africa in some places. But if I look at the distribution map, it seems to be an invasive species down in the Western Cape, in the Eastern Cape, the northern KwaZulu-Natal. It misses out of the whole of Swaziland, so it obviously doesn't grow in the highlands of not Swaziland, Lesotho, the mountainous regions of Lesotho. And then sort of the Mpumalanga region and southern region of Mpumalanga and northwestern KwaZulu-Natal, west of Swaziland, but not here. It doesn't occur here in the sort of northeastern part of the country. So I don't know, but yes, its name is Robinia pseudoacacia, because it's a pseudoacacia. I learn something new every day. What can I say? And I can hear some uppeckers, so there's a big animal here somewhere. Thank you, Kimberly. Kimmy Kim. Kimberly. Pointing in the right direction. I want to get up to the dam at Langwan because there were some elephant tracks heading up north, but still running out of daylight, and then we'll get back down to see if we can see that leopard again. We might be able to do that. I heard a buffalo here. We were asked about female buffalo earlier, and there might actually be a herd buffalo. We're on my floaters. Interesting. I'm sure at some point we'll catch up with elephants. Getting close to sunset. I'm hoping that we would still have a chance. Other elephants in the near dam drinking water. North of Royal Malawan, way out of our signal area. They're actually drinking water there. But we're at Langwan Dam, and there were some tracks of a bull and some other ellies heading north, and there's a most possibility as I approach the dam. My hope is that I'm seeing this mirror of the surface of water. Oh well, there's nothing happening here at Langwan Dam. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stay much unless Mildred's there. We've got to stop and say hello to Mildred, and unless there's hippo, because people have asked about hippo, and some people miss the hippo. We saw hippo here a couple of days ago, and well, they disappeared. We were here earlier, and they seem to have gone back north for the tracks this morning, heading north. Not if possible. But no, not today. Look at this water. This water is a mirror. Perfect. So a pair of hippos, gut, in other words, hippo geese. Different geese. Oh, look, there's Mildred lying along the dam wall. Maybe she'll let us watch her. But she's going to be so close to the car, I don't have to even be able to see her. She's lying right on the bank in the sun, and I hope she's not going to get too disturbed by it. So let's just leave her calm herself down. Get some geese. You see Mildred? Mildred the crocodile. I think Royal Malawan would, their toes would curl if they knew that I called her Mildred. But what can I say? We see the same character every day, and she's actually, that one day when she came out of the water mirror, it was quite special. Oh girl. Oh, she's so close, she's just stuck in the grasses. Don't direct me, David, but
it's not a grass.
there is. There, you get a close up of her eye.
Not really, but
There. Hello, pretty crocodile. I really like crocodiles. I mean, there have been times when I've really been close. Eye to eye with a crocodile can be special sometimes. Oh, relax, please. Come on, you're not doing anything. You're just sitting quietly. Keep freaking for no reason. Pity the sun is in the wrong place, but it is, I can't tell you how special it is that this crocodile allows us to come so close to her. So I wonder what would happen if I got out and went and said and patted her.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, well, should we test it? Excuse me a sec, I'm just getting out. I'm just going to go and... No, I'm not. Only teasing. I'd no sooner go and take a chameleon off a branch than I would go and try and pat a crocodile. I don't like interfering in their lives, and I don't want to negatively affect her. She's using this last little bit of sunshine to get a little bit of warmth. I might still be able to catch a fish or two tonight. Not that she needs to. Okay, we need to go because I want to go still find. Hello, starlings. Starlings. Bye, Mildred. See you tomorrow, girl. Well, I suppose there's a remote possibility that those elephants that they have north are the very elephant tracks that I see coming north now. Oh look, I see some. Surprise, surprise. I wonder if this is that herd of elephant. Doesn't take them long to cover ground, eh? Yep, this is. Somebody asked me about female buffalo. Well, yeah, I've already seen there's a youngster here, which means that this is a breeding herd, and that means that we've got females and calves and bulls and all sorts of different sized animals here. And this is where, look, there even two little children playing just in front of us. There's two little boys just sparring. One trying to use a tree to rub. There you go, some female buffalo and calves and hang on a sec, Aaron. Now, if we can, because there are some young bulls here and young cows and youngsters and all different sized buffalo, if we can, what I want to show you is that the female buffalo, the cows, they don't have this boss, that huge, heavy bulk of horn on their heads that the bulls have, that we call the boss, that they bash their heads with, that's developed over time to be able to cushion the blow and not affect the brain and not give them concussion. The females have horns because they do still need to protect themselves and their calves. They still need to use them as weapons, as do other bovids that still inhabit thick bush at times, but they don't fight with them, so they don't develop this very, very thick boss, as it were. Sambenyari, eastern side of Longwan Dam. Still 5 stations on standby on those lines. Still 5, I mean it's been 5 stations on standby the whole afternoon, so there's just been one constant procession. I want to get around onto Central Road because the front of the herd is probably there and we might get to see some better, because this is the back of the herd, so we're mostly seeing the back of buffalo. So we'll see if we can get around the front of them. Of course, usually the case if we want to get down south on the cut line to be able to see if we can find that leopard, and we're finding other things along the way. But that's part of the course, and that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter if we don't get to. We might just get there and the leopard won't even be there. So we just got to take whatever we get. leaving Kambanyari, moving east from Langwan Dam, open lock. Thanks, Marsha. Sorry, I've got station at BMX corner. Which station at BMX corner was it? Well, it's too bad, dude. I mean, I'm in the dip already. You said you're stopping at BMX corner for Fuzza and I'm already here. So, there's nothing I can do. I've got to... sorry, I'm going to have to get that message from Marsha Brown in a minute. But something changed as I got that question. And... I just got to get through this little section of past people that are probably going to be upset with me for disturbing them. Thanks, Brad. Yeah, just getting off of the car. Well, sorry, I tried to call you usually. So, nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. Sorry, I was in the dip already. So what was that from Marsha? Something about the carob tree. That would be interesting because carob is used for substitute for chocolate for lactose intolerant people and maybe diabetics and a healthy chocolate alternative. There was something about the locust. I don't know. What was that, Aaron? One of the genus of the locust tree. Produces the carob powder. So it is family of the carob tree, the locust tree. That is interesting. What does my tree book say? I don't know, there's no carobs in here. I'll have to look at that online. I don't have trees from northern hemisphere climes. But thank you, Marsha. Interesting. One of the Torah, you really have to ask a difficult question, don't you? The heart rate of crocodile. I don't know. I've never measured the heart rate of a crocodile when it's sun tanning. I would imagine that the metabolism speeds up a little bit, but really I haven't the faintest idea. The heart rate slows. The metabolism slows down during the colder months, like now when it gets cold at night and stuff. But really I haven't the faintest idea how it relates to our heart rate when we're sleeping. We are mammals, crocodiles are reptiles. I can't imagine trying to find a similarity between the behavior of the rate of the heartbeat of a crocodile versus a mammal, because we are able to regulate our own. Excuse me. The leopard and the baby gone towards River Lodge, so he might not be here anymore. Heart rate. Our heart rate slows down when we sleep. When a crocodile I don't even know if we can correlate the two, because a reptile is something that can't regulate its own body temperature, so its heart rate is dependent on temperature and everything else, whereas our heart rate and our metabolism is dependent on. Okay, good question, Tora. You've got me. Hang on. So there's a leopard walking. Brad, come in. Yeah, I'm going to make my way back to Kaya, so would you suggest I go anywhere particular to look for you? Confirm River Lodge. Okay, copy. Interesting. The most interesting thing about that question would be to find a correlation between temperature and heartbeat of a crocodile, because for us humans, for us mammals, it's a different story entirely. And I don't even know what the heartbeat or the average rate of a heartbeat is for a crocodile. So, gosh, you got me really thinking there, Mr. Master Brown. From Louisville, Kentucky. Home of the Louisville Slugger. So it sounds like our leopard has left the building. I mean, Jackleberry Creek and the area. Sounds like he and his mother and his brother have headed down towards the River Lodge. And so shall we. Yo. that's just too much. Thanks. Okay, yeah, no, that's it. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you, dear. Sending me a table of heartbeat of crocodile, I guess, depending on temperature. Little bit what we call TMI. But thanks, dear. Table of heartbeat depending on temperature of the crocodile. The fact is, I don't know what temperature that crocodile is right now, so I wouldn't know what its heartbeat is. Because okay, interesting, but yes, interesting to follow. Thank you, ladies, for bringing that to my attention, and creating the perfect I don't know question, because I actually don't know. Okay, Aaron, what you got for me? He says, changing the subject because he doesn't know the answer. Back to Marsha in Louisville. Okay, okay. Yeah, boy. Hey, Marsha. Oh, look at this kudu bull. Oh, gosh, it's gorgeous. Look at him. Are you going to let us see you, Mr. Kudu? Incredible kudu bull right here in front of us. And I just want to try and just see him. He didn't stop. Here's another one coming across the road. Look. Not as big, but another big bull. Hello, big boyki. Hello, Mr. Kudu. Hello. Pleased to meet you, Squire. Oh, you moved too far. Oh. A little bit shy. That was quite special. I completely forgot what Marshall is on about. Yeah. Alright, thank you. Marsha. A why question about animal behavior that I don't have an answer for. But Marsha answered her own question with her question. Why some species, prey species, are curious about predators like waterbuck. Oh, there's another bull, look at him. Oh, there's three big bulls here. I'm going slowly because there are always a few bulls together. Why waterbuck would stare at a crocodile or fish a crocodile. I got the same question the other day about why kudu and waterbuck approach the leopard. The first thing you've got to learn about nature is you can't ask those questions why, because the only way to find out the answer is actually to observe that particular circumstance, that particular incident, and make deductions and make observations about that particular incident. Because you can't look into the minds of an animal and establish why it does things. But yes, Marsha, yes to both of those questions that you asked. Yes, it is to try and intimidate them to go back in the water. Yes, because they're inquisitive. Yes, for maybe a dozen other reasons that only the waterbuck know why they did that. I can't emphasize more often how when it comes to animal behavior, there's certain things you can't ask why, because only the animal knows why it does things. It's a behavioral thing. It's not an instinctive thing that you can say, well, amoeba reacts to vinegar this way because it's amoeba, it doesn't have a brain and it's reacting to the chemical stimulus. Animals are different. Animals have these, they thinking, caring, feeling, emotional. One day they might do that and another day they might look at a crocodile and run away. It's not something that all water bugs do every time they see a crocodile. It's that one incident to look at it for what it is, and I would need to see the whole scenario to maybe try and interpret why they did what they did. But yes, you as I say, you answered the question. You provided the answer in your question. Yes, they were curious, and yes, maybe they wanted to push it back into the water, and yes, there are probably a bunch of other reasons why they did that. But it's the most wonderful thing about nature, and it's one of the things that keeps me driving around a place like Thornybush 6 hours a day when sometimes there's nothing to see, in that every now and then I'm going to see something I've never seen before, or every now and then there's going to be something remarkable, like the black mamba, or like the leopard this morning, or the cheetah the other day, or I'm hoping within the next couple of days bumping into elephants. It's behavior. It's even an insect, it doesn't have predictable behavior. You just got to look at nature. You've got to watch something in nature to understand that every living thing, every creature, every breathing, every organism, that they're not just driven by something that we can put down on paper and write a book about and say this is what this thing does, because I promise you're going to be surprised. How many times I say, oh, it's going to do this, or it's going to do that, and it does something the opposite. Nature is always surprising you. Nature is gosh, I don't know how much more I can emphasize that. Very hard for me to comment on an animal's behavior if I don't know all the circumstances, and just to sort of comment on a particular incident with waterbuck and a crocodile when I don't know what it was all about, it's very hard, and I don't want to make assumptions, and I don't want it to appear that that's what all waterbuck do every time they see a crocodile, or that's what every crocodile does, or that is what happens all the time. It'll be different every single time, but it can be the same many times over. Does that make sense? It can be different every time you see something, but it can be the same many times over. I don't know how to emphasize it more, that this is the beauty of nature. This is the very essence of this wonderful life that lives on this planet, that 90% of the human planet things are just automated, non-feeling, non-caring, non-thinking creatures that are there to be exploited. They're not. They've got every much of an ounce of what we feel and think, and they got brains, they got red blood that pumps through their veins, they got kidneys and lungs and livers and stomachs and hearts and veins and arteries, and they cut, they bleed, they feel things, they have emotions, Okay, I'm resting on. Next question, please. Is that Charlie? Did I call it Crocodile Mildred or Matilda? And I don't know, I thought I called it Mildred a long time. I thought I named it Mildred. I don't know. Did I use Matilda one day? Problem with naming animals. I assume it's a female based on information I was given. I might be wrong. There is absolutely no way. I don't care how good you are at looking at crocodiles or working with crocodiles. I'd even challenge Steve when he was still here to tell me whether that's a male or a crocodile just by looking at it. I was basing my information, or rather I was basing my assumption, I was basing my naming on what I have learnt about that crocodile. And I was told that crocodile was a captured crocodile that was released, and that in the process of capture and release, it was investigated as to its health and various other aspects of it, and it was found to be a female crocodile. That's how I think it's a female crocodile, because the head ranger dude, guy Juan Pitko at Royal Malawan Lodge, he told me that it was a female. So I believed him, and so I believe it's a female. But there's no way of knowing, because you actually have to do an internal examination. Come, Digger, just get over this hill. Thank you. I believe you have to do an internal, a very personal, almost like a body search at immigration at an airport if you ever have to. But yes, that's how you have to. That's the only way. And I'm not about to do that, so I can't confirm nor deny. But I believe it's a female crocodile. Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. Vivian, perhaps I will relate the story of the leopard at Juma. Oh. Yeah. Put a paw on a running board. No, not now, Vivian. I'll do that now. Yeah, no, I think I know what Vivian's trying to ask. There was a story about a leopard way back in the 90s when I was head ranger at Nyati. A young female leopard that put her paws up on the running board, and she actually touched the ranger, she touched the guest. But no, you can't, I'm not going to go there now. Because it's getting pretty late and cold and chilly and dark. Hello, Deborah. Okay, sorry to giggle at your question. But thanks, Deborah. Good question. Very good question, because there's something that we haven't really spoken about for a while now. And I think there's some people that have joined us now here in Thornybush that haven't really been on drive with us here at Thornybush, but they were with us on drive at Pajuma. But Deborah was asking, is there a car following us? Because every now and then they see a camera that is behind the camera person looking at the digger. And what it is actually, there you go, David's showing you now, there are a couple of GoPros right up at the top of the antenna at the back of the digger. This is a new compared to the old jig, but there you go. Yeah, I got it. There you go. Although at the moment there's two pairs of GoPros at the back. Normally there's only one, but that's the back camera. And then the other thing that is new is this camera here. There's this GoPro here, which is my presenter cam, which we never had before either. But you're not allowed. Not allowed to. At the moment you can't switch to that one, can you? We need to fix it. Not the case of not allowed, and that wasn't a Freudian slip. There's this camera here. We could record on this camera, but at the moment we can't switch to that camera during the drive, which I hope we could, but every now and then it doesn't let us. There's some anomalies that happen on this vehicle. We've got 3 different cameras. The main camera, of course, which is what we always had, and there's this camera here, and then the camera at the back. And normally we can sort of switch between the different cameras, but right now we can't use this one. But we record with it sometimes. Sometimes you see me talking to this camera because we're recording on it for our 3D series. Susan asking, do I think animals have souls? I can't believe you're asking me that question. I can't believe that any human being can ask that question. And of course they do. How can it possibly not be? How can it be that we are made up of the same we're made up of the same thing as every other mammal on this planet? How can it be we're the only ones that can think that we can have souls and language and feelings and families and everything? That is just so, what's the word I'm looking for? Arrogant. That we're the only one. Every single creature. You have to know an animal. You have to experience the passion and compassion and understanding and connection with another mammal, animal, bird, insect, even insect. Of course, everything. How could they live otherwise if they don't have soul, if they don't have a being? Every living creature is a being, even a flea or a tick. Every living creature is a being, is a living creature, is breathing, it's got a respiratory system. Some creatures, okay, some don't have a combination of respiratory, reproductive and digestive, and in some cases either they have one or the other, or a combination of two, and it's only us higher creatures like mammals and fish and birds and reptiles and things that have all of them, reproductive, respiratory and digestive systems all at once. But yes, they do. There's no doubt about it. You have to know any animal, even if it is a mouse, to know that of course they do. They have characters, they have souls, they have feelings, they have everything that we have, just on a smaller or a bigger scale. How can it be that they don't? Hey, old man giraffe, who chose to ignore us. That there's a vast population of human beings that don't have souls. I fear that there are, and we talk about zombies and things, I fear that there are vast, probably 80% of the human population on this planet that are guided purely by something, brain and flesh and blood, that don't have souls, and that is why we have the kind of problem with cruelty and destruction of the environment and habitat and everything else, that people have lost their souls. If there's anything on this planet that's living and breathing and got red blood that don't have souls, the majority of the human population, the way we're destroying this planet. First quarter tonight, he says, changing the subject. The moon's directly up ahead. It's a half moon. Well, actually, it's not a half moon. It's actually a quarter, but it looks only a half of a round. So it's half moon, but it's the first quarter. Got a week to go to full moon. I'm looking forward to it. Not so chilly tonight. Forgive me, I'm still in shirt sleeves. Becky would say it's like an English summer tonight. Not middle of winter. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of Wild Earth, and thank you for our interaction this afternoon. It's been wonderful. And do join us again tomorrow here at Thornybush Private Nature Reserve, 6:30 Central African Time, 4:30 Greenwich Mean Time, or UTC. I'd say it's, I don't know, what is Universal Time? I don't know, what's UTC stand for? I don't know. But UTC I think is the same as GMT, so it'll be 4:30 AM Greenwich Mean Time, 6:30 AM Central African Time. And I'm not a world clock, so I can't tell you any other time. Okay, it'll be 7:30 East African time, because they'll be up already in East Africa, so it's an hour ahead. It'll be about 4:30 in the UK, because that's Greenwich Mean Time. It'll be maybe, I think, Eastern Standard, sort of East Coast USA, maybe 6 hours, I don't know. See, I don't know. I don't want to say, because I don't know. It's 6 or 7 hours to New York. But that's why I say I'm not a world clock, so I can't get this daylight savings thing in my head, or know when you change, when you don't change. We never have to change. It's the same time every year, every day for us. So 6:30 it is, Central African time, my time. Worry about your time on your calendar, and look at a world clock online or something. Even cell phones now have world clock settings, so you can go to GMT +2 or UTC +2 and set it. But hopefully you'll join us in the morning, and hopefully we'll see something else. I'm going to keep my ears open tonight for lion and things. Although it sounds like they're all up on a giraffe kill, so I don't know if we'll have any lion action down here. But thanks everybody. Love you lots. Take care. See you tomorrow. Au revoir.